Good evening, everybody. My name is John Gordon. I'm one of the members of SOMa for Palestine. We're sort of a new ad hoc group in our neighborhood here in South Orange, Maplewood, but we include people in Orange, West Orange, anywhere really. Thanks. So we're really excited to have Mohammad here today, and he's going to be presenting his artwork. So we have the display up, and just a little bit about our group before we start. We're just a collection of residents, and we've been very interested in educating people in the area about Palestinian issues, and Palestinian culture is a really important aspect of what we'd like to present, as well as political issues, which we can't really get away from as Palestinians. And so this is our second official event, and we're actually doing this as a suggested donation because we're trying to help offset Mohammed's travel expenses. He came all the way from Ramallah, so we're very grateful to have him here. So we're going to hit all the points I need to make. So I'd like to have Mohammad. Thank you so much for coming, joining us today.
I'm sorry because I will be moving between here and the computer because I have to be a little bit flexible. As he mentioned, I'm Mohammad Sabaaneh, a Palestinian cartoonist, and now I'm working with a daily newspaper in Palestine called Jadida, and with Middle East Monitor. It's a website in the UK, and actually every day I have to go to my work. I'm working also with the private university in Palestine, Nakbe University, Arab American University. And it's difficult, well, we call it American, maybe it's a promoting name, it's a good name for like private university, American University. And we have some relation with some American universities now here in the United States. I will start to talk about my book through this, through this artwork. I started with, it's a big mural about Palestinian history. Started from a British mandate, Palestinian resist, and it's happened in 1948, Palestinian resist, and then the first part of the second part of what's going on now in Palestine. And this artwork is in my first chapter in my book, and I added this artwork not just because I want to show that I can do like this huge kind of artwork, or just because I want to teach the people about the history of Palestine, but you could figure out what is the exact reason to display like this artwork in my book. I will start it from the name of my book is White and Black, and I will do something that I started my English language just 5 years ago, and that's why I used some books for Nakbe, Miko Bellet, and some writers who wrote something about Palestine. Actually, I tried to do something for Mohammad Sabaaneh, but his language is very hard. Even his lecture, his book, even if you translate it to Arabic, you cannot understand it.
Even if you know English, you can't.
Yeah. And that's why I found this phrase, settler colonialism, as it described the situation in Palestine. I heard a lot of the people from around the world, they use conflict as a label of the whole situation in Palestine, and sometimes they use occupation. But actually, if you use occupation, the occupation is for just a period of time, for a reason. Someone wants to occupy an area to get the resources, during the war, maybe it's good having some occupation. Also, when they call it conflict, I don't think what's going on in Palestine is a conflict, because the conflict is between two sides, two equal sides, and you should compromise between these sides to find a resolution for this conflict. But what's going on in Palestine, we should call it settler colonialism, because there is some immigrant who came from another part of the world, to occupy this area, to build their own country in the ruins of another people and another nation. And that's what exactly happened in 1948, 1947, when they came from European country under big excuse and under big title that they are a victim of the Second World War. They are a victim of the Holocaust. That's why the world gave these people the permission to destroy another nation, destroy another people, and to build their own country in the ruins of our country. That's how they convert this oppressed people during the Second World War. You can see here the Holocaust, the Second World War, and they became oppressor for my people and my country. And that's how this war gives them the permission to establish their own country in Palestine. And now they call it Israel. Another cartoon to show how is the world was just helped this occupation or settler colonialism to kill the next generation of Palestinians and to expel them from their own country, their own village, to be refugees around the world. In 1948, the Zionist gangs expelled 750,000 Palestinians from their own country, from their own village, to build their own country. And actually, in this cartoon, I tried to make just one indication that this cartoon about the Palestinian refugees, because now we also have Syrian refugees. We have refugees from around the world. But in this cartoon, I just did this small fish with Palestinian scar to be as an indication that this cartoon about Palestinian refugees. But you can use it when you want to talk about refugees from around the world. And they expelled them to refugees camp in Jordan, in West Bank, in Jordan, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq. And now they claim that they just expelled 45,000 Palestinians from their own village, but the real number is 750,000 Palestinians who have been expelled from 1948 area. Israeli government and Israeli historian claimed that in 1967, when they occupied West Bank and Gaza, they occupied West Bank and Gaza because they want just for security reasons. Because there is some Arab, there is some Palestinian want to fight against the state of Israel. But Nakbe wrote in his book, The Ethnic Cleansing in Palestine, that when they occupied the West Bank and Gaza, they occupied it because they have already known that the state of Israel will not exist without the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. And until now, they build their own settlement in West Bank. They confiscate our land in West Bank. They expel the Palestinians from the West Bank, and that's what's going on now. And because in 1948 they expelled 750,000 Palestinians from their own country under a big decision from the UN, an international decision that they have right to build their own country. But in 1967, they could not do the same thing for many reasons. One of these reasons that there is a lot of Palestinian residents in West Bank and Gaza. They have already expelled in 1948. The world now, at that time used to use the television and the media is better. That's why they could not expel the rest of Palestinians. And that's why they tried to figure out how they can manage all this huge population in West Bank. They want to establish a Jewish state in Palestine. That means they cannot consider all of these people as a Muslim or Christian in West Bank and Gaza as a citizen for the state of Israel, because the majority will be Palestinian, and they wanted to be democracy states. That's why they designed for the Palestinian the biggest prison on the earth. That's recent book for Nakbe. I did actually this artwork in 2014, and in 2017 he published his book. When I depicted the situation for my people in West Bank as a big prison, and all of these people, all of these citizens, all of these institutions for Palestinian Authority, it's looked like inside this prison, because I feel that's the solution that they had it to figure out how they can manage West Bank and Gaza. And you could see from this, all of this plan, Alon plan, Dorcas plan, Alpha plan, from 1967 until 1994, how they try to figure out how they can manage West Bank. And actually in this presentation, I keep talking about West Bank because I'm living there. All of this dark, this is the West Bank, the West Bank. The dark area, in 1967, they decided that they will keep all this area under Israeli control, to keep all of these Palestinians in another area inside this big prison. They cannot go to Jordan without cross Israeli area. They cannot go to Israel. They need a permission to travel around from Palestine to outside. In 1978, they tried to find another solution. The dark area is for Palestinian. The dark area here, it's military zone for Israel, and the rest of all of these islands, Palestinian city. Last plan for them, they decided to talk all of this black area and keep the area between West Bank and Gaza under Israeli control, and to keep the rest of this area for the Israeli government, under the control of the Israeli government. This is our situation now in West Bank. The small blue area, it is the settlement in West Bank. The line between all this blue area, it is bypass route for settlers. If they want to move from one settlement to another settlement in West Bank, they have their own routes just for settlers. You cannot use it as Palestinian. The black area, it is behind the wall, and they use it to talk around 9.4% from West Bank area. The gray area, it is military zone under their control. The green area is for settlers to cultivate this area, and you can imagine the situation in West Bank now. I live here in this area, it's Ramallah, and my family there in the north of the West Bank. If I want to cross from Ramallah to Jenin, I have to cross through 3 Israeli checkpoints. And in each checkpoint, I could pass, they could stop me, arrest me, ask me about anything, confiscate my artwork. That's what's happened recently. I will show you some photo for that. And that's the situation now in West Bank. And you could compare between all of these maps to understand that they planned to put us in this big prison from 1967. It's not coincidence, it's not something happened randomly, and that's why I did this cartoon about the war. I want to show you another. This is the annexation wall, and we call it the annexation wall because most of the people around the world, they think that they built this wall on the border between what they call Israel and Palestine. But actually, they annexed around 9.4% from our land behind this wall for many reasons: water resources, gas resources, and also to surround it, Jerusalem, and isolate Jerusalem. And that's why they built this wall, and that's why also I did another cartoon about the Israeli wall and annexation wall. This is the Palestinian city in West Bank called Qalqiya, and it is surrounded by the blue line. The blue line is the wall. That's why this wall shaped big prison for the Palestinians inside this small city. if you want to go outside the city, you have to cross through this green line, and here is red line for settlers, and that's mean if they want to close this city, close as a big cell for all these people, they can do it. And this blue area, all this blue area, it is settlements in our land, in the area which should be considered under the international law of Palestinian states. And that's why I did this cartoon about the land grab in West Bank. Another case also in West Bank, in a small village around Ramallah called, I think, around Jerusalem. You could see this small home here. This one is for Palestinian citizen. I'll try to figure out where is now. This home is for Palestinian citizen. This one, surrounded by all of this construction for settlers. This man refused to sell his home to the settlers. Refused to evacuate his home. That's why they surrounded his home by wall and by fence, and give him small path to go outside his home. And if he wants to go outside his home, he should get permission from Israeli government. If he wants to invite anyone to come to his home, he should get permission from the Israeli government. Another photo for the same home. This is the Palestinian home for Palestinian settlement. This is the route for his home, and they close it by this gate. It wasn't exaggeration when I did this cartoon about Palestinian life. Another thing going on in West Bank also, the olive tree for us as a Palestinian, it's part from our identity, it's part from our culture, part of our heritage, part of our narrative also. It's not just for financial reason. That's why there's some Palestinian farmer, they want to pick their old tree, they have to cross through this checkpoint, they have to get permission from the Israeli government, they have to stay at their land like 4 hours per day, 5 hours, depending on the Israeli permission. And you can see the photo here for some Palestinian farmer, and here is my cartoon about this case. I will not talk about this photo. My cartoon will explain. That means the wall is not, it's not border between two states. It's not to protect the Israeli people from the Palestinian. It's not what they claim. The Israeli border or Israeli wall surrounded everything. Our education, our relation, our religions, our sport, and everything. Even this wall surrounded the occupation. I think the next generation from Israel will not recognize us as a Palestinian, as a human being. They will not. They will not have this ability to imagine how the Palestinians they are look like. Even us as a Palestinian, we will not imagine that. We will just recognize them as a soldier, as a killer, who they are coming to our village, our city, just to kill the Palestinian. And that's why I did this cartoon about the Israeli annexation war or segregation war. And that's why I did this mural. I'll skip all of that. because everything happened in the history. Palestinian expulsion, killed the Palestinians, surrounded them, seized them, and all what's happened during our history still go on. Until now, there is nothing stopped, and you could find all of these things. Even our resistance still go on in Palestine. And that's what's going on now in Nabi Saleh, Khan al-Ahmar, Gaza, and all of our area in Palestine. I will start to talk about myself. I was born in Kuwait in 1979. This is my photo while I was 6 years old, here without glasses. When I won the first prize in my life, I was 6 years old. I won this first prize in art competition. It was organized by Palestinian Liberation Organization in Kuwait. And then I finished, after the first Gulf War, we moved to Jordan. And from there, I finished my higher school and then traveled to Palestine to get my bachelor degree from art school there. I remember on the first day in the second Intifada, one of my colleagues, my friend, his name is Zakaria, he invited me to go with him to protest against the Israeli soldier around Nakbe. We arrived there and started our demonstration against the Israeli soldier. One of our colleagues was targeted by Israeli soldier. That's why I got scared and went back to my home. And I left my friend Zakaria there in that area. And I heard from the news when I was moving back from the taxi that the Israeli soldier killed my friend Zakaria there. At that time, I decided that the only way I can resist against the occupation as Muhammad, by doing my artwork, by doing my cartoon, graduated from university in 2002, then started my work in private university, and keep working on my artwork, keep doing my daily cartoon. In 2013, while I was traveling back from Jordan, the Israeli soldier stopped me at the border and arrested me and took me to Israeli detention center. And this cartoon from French cartoonist called Pierre, he did this cartoon as a solidarity with me. And that's how the Israeli cell looked like. It's not real Israeli cell. There is some photo from the internet just to can imagine the situation there, but the situation there was very hard. They locked me in a small cell in this detention center with no windows, no anything. They do not give the Palestinian prisoner anything there. Just they give the Palestinian prisoner small broken teeth brush. They broke it because they know they have no idea. Maybe the Palestinian prisoner will use this teeth brush to kill himself because the situation there very hard. At that time, I decided that I'm here in this detention center, not as a Palestinian prisoner. I'm here as a journalist. I'm here to report to all of these people around the world, to tell them what exactly happening inside the Israeli prison. And that's why in one of these interrogation session, I started this small paper from the interrogator and started to jot down the idea of my cartoon. I will talk about what, the topics, the ideas, and I will talk about what when I will be released from the prison. And this cartoon from Egyptian cartoonist called Amr Akasha, another graffiti in Ramallah Street. One of my friends did it when I was inside the prison. And then when they moved me from this detention center to the prison, I started my project and did around 25 cartoons about the Palestinian prisoner and around 250 cartoons and sketch about the situation outside the prison. Because also I want to keep my mind work as a cartoonist who follow up the daily news and try to convey the daily news and what's going on outside the prison. one of these cartoons, one of these sketch inside the prison won the second Arab Prize in 2014. And that was the cartoon. I did the sketch for this cartoon inside the prison. Just to explain how I did all this cartoon about Palestinian prisoner while I was inside Israeli prison. And just in case they want to confiscate this artwork, because if they know that this artwork about them and about this prison, they will confiscate my artwork, they will prevent me to do this artwork, and maybe they will talk all my artwork. That's why when I did the cartoon inside the prison, this is inside the prison, I did it without any indicator that this cartoon about Palestinian prisoner. When I was released from the prison, I complete the cartoon. I did the Windows bar here just to show that this cartoon about the Palestinian prisoner. And here you could find a Nakbe, this Israeli prison, and my studio actually. And when I was released from the prison, I did my exhibition in Ramallah, in Jordan, and then moved to Spain. I started to move around the world and meet a lot of cartoonists from around the world. And that's how I met Anna. She's a Washington Post cartoonist, Cal Kegel from The Economist, Matt Walker from the Politico. That's how I found a great opportunity to understand how all of these artists and cartoonists from around the world, they are doing their artwork. And actually here I want to just to mention something. When I decided to be a cartoonist, I was a student in Najaf University. In our university, it's the biggest Palestinian university. I found just one book for one Palestinian cartoonist. His name is Najib Ali, the one who created Handala. You know Handala, the small kids who give his back to his audience. And that's why it was very difficult for me to improve my ability to do the cartoon. It was very hard. There's no resources. In the year 2000, there is no internet in Palestine, and there's nothing. But when I started to travel around the world and meet all these cartoonists, I started to spend a lot of money buying books about the cartoon, about the comics from around the world. I had a great question in my mind that if all of my audience, they are like my cartoon, just because I'm talking about Palestine or because I'm doing good art, I decided to evaluate my artwork by hard way. And all of these people like my artwork just because I was in the prison, I'm criticizing Israel, and just because my topics, not because I'm doing a good art. That's why when I traveled back from Spain and saw the Guernica, I did a cartoon using the Guernica to talk about the Palestinian situation. And then I started my journey, try to improve my artwork. And this was first sketch in my way to my book. And during, that's the war in 2014, I put a big piece of paper in front of me and started doing and sketching until I finished this cartoon. And this one, I think, is the first cartoon from my book. I was talking about the situation in Gaza. And then I signed the contract with Just Word Book and started doing the cartoons of my book. And I decided just to talk about our daily basis in Palestine, to try to convey our situation there, and to give the people around the world tools to understand what's exactly going on in Palestine. all of these cars waiting to cross one checkpoint between Ramallah and Nablus. And I took more than this photo because there is more than this number of cars just waiting to cross this checkpoint. That's why I did this cartoon about the checkpoint. The people around the world, they think that they got rid from the discrimination against, they got rid from the apartheid system, apartheid states, but actually it is still going on in Palestine. Still we have apartheid. I will go back to Noam Chomsky when he said that Israeli state, it is not apartheid states. It's worse than apartheid states, because the apartheid state, they want to create two kinds of citizen, two level. They want to classify their citizen into two levels. But the state of Israel, what they call the state of Israel, they want just one kind of citizen. And that's also you can figure out when you move from any checkpoint in West Bank. This is the checkpoint here, and there is two routes for this checkpoint. You could find this routes full with cars waiting to cross this checkpoint, waiting the permission from the Israeli soldier, waiting the permission from this immigrant who came from, I don't know from where he came, as a native people in Palestine. We should wait to cross this checkpoint to get the permission from this soldier. And if you are settlers, in West Bank, you can cross without anyone asking. That's why I took this photo for the checkpoints. About two-state solution, also I took all these photos for traffic sign in West Bank. Here is all this sign for Israeli settlement in West Bank, Be'aliyeh, Frak Tafur, Beit El, and also because they consider Jerusalem as an Israeli city. They put all of this sign in West Bank for the settlers. You could not find any signs like these signs for the Palestinian people to recognize the streets or the city or anything like that. Another photo, you could see the Israeli flag in this this small village called Sinjar. It's it's close to Ramallah, and every May they hang all this Israeli flag in our street, celebrate what they call the Israeli Independence Day, our Nakbe. And they hang all these flags, Israeli flag, in our streets. Another sign also for settlers to tell them that you are going to Palestinian city. For settlers, don't go there, it's dangerous. They put area A, here A, because they label the Palestinian area in West Bank into A, B, C, according to Oslo Agreement. Area A, it is under Palestinian Authority control. Area B under Israeli and Palestinian Authority control. Area C under the Israeli Authority control. This is the area in West Bank. And this sign it is for the settlers just to know that you are going to Palestinian area. That's why I did this cartoon, talk about the peace process, because I don't think that it is a peace process, it is just a process, and under this process they can steal our land, they can kill the Palestinian, they can build their own settlement, and you should wait, because as a Palestinian you have, or you will have maybe one day peace, because you have this process. That's why I did this cartoon about the peace process. Another cartoon about the same thing. And 3 months ago, I was traveling back from Belgium. I was participating in a festival for cartoonists, international cartoonists, and I had my big mural about Palestinian history and copied this mural. And while I was traveling back, the Israeli soldier found the mural, and that's why they confiscated it in what we call it Nakbe Bridge. And here's the photo of Israeli intelligence, because I was waiting there and spent some time just taking photo for them. And actually, they interrogated me for 7 hours just because I had this artwork with me. Not just me as a Palestinian cartoonist, even any cartoonist from around the world, if he criticized Israel, he will be accused as anti-Semitic cartoonist. And we will find Steve Bell from The Guardian. This guy is German cartoonist also. He was accused as an anti-Semitic cartoonist, and he was expelled from his newspaper because he did this cartoon about Netanyahu. Another cartoonist from Netherlands. And even if you are Israeli cartoonist and criticized Israel, you will be accused as anti-Semitic cartoonist. And this cartoonist, Avi Katz, he was working in Jerusalem Post, and when he did this cartoon, he was fired from his newspaper, and he was accused as anti-Semitic cartoonist. Another artwork they confiscated was to talk about Nakbe. Another one also at the same sketchbook. While they were interrogating me, when they saw this artwork, they surrounded me, the Israeli soldier in the checkpoint, and one of them asked me why you did this cartoon about the Israeli soldier. And they were around me, all these soldiers. I told them, because all of you soldiers around me, I did this cartoon about your soldiers. And then they took this sketchbook also. And recently I'm working on a new art project, the second mural about Palestinian history, big mural about the human history, and one about the human issue around the world. And that's it. Thank you.
What do you think about Banksy and his work?
Actually, I like Banksy's work. He got a lot of criticism from a lot of cartoons and arts around the world, because some people think that he is like both the Israeli people and the Palestinian people at the same level when he criticizes Israel or talking about Israel. But actually, I like his work, and he did very well for the Palestinian. The last project for him, the hotel around the wall. Yeah.
Walled off.
Yeah, it's a great project, and I think it is a good awareness about the Palestinian issue for the people around the world.
Will your cartoons be published in newspapers?
Yeah, I'm working with daily newspaper in Palestine called Al-Hayat Jadida, and with the Middle East Monitor, Cartoon Movement, and recently I published my book here, with just one book.
You said you won your first prize when you were 6?
6 years old.
So what did you have anything that inspired you then, or was it just straight out of your imagination?
I think one of the most important cartoonists in Palestine, his name is Najib Ali. He was working in Kuwait at that time, and my mother used to use his cartoon as a tool to tell us about what's going on in Palestine. Maybe that's why now I'm a cartoonist. Maybe because that I won this prize.
What is his name?
Najib Ali. He was killed in London in 1987.
He's Kuwait.
He's Palestinian. He was expelled from his village, from Al-Shajara village, to refugees camp in Lebanon, Ain al-Hilwa refugee camp. Then he started his career in Lebanese newspaper, called Safir newspaper. Then he traveled to Kuwait and started his work with Al-Qabasi newspaper. And then the Kuwaiti government asked him to leave Kuwait and go to London because he did not lift any Arab regime without criticism. He criticized all besides the Palestinian Liberation Organization, and he was killed in London. And until now, no one knows who's killed him. Some people say that the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, killed him. Yasser Arafat was killed him. But one of his friends I met recently, he told me, no, the Israeli intelligence who killed Nazir.
He's famous for creating Andalus,
Yeah.
which is the little boy, as he mentioned before, has his hands behind his back, and you only see the back of his back.
I think I know what that is.
Yeah. The same logo of the BDS movement, what that movement, they use Andalus.
Ah, yeah.
David?
I think one of your first slides showed the settler colonial ship and the Native Americans, and then it said settler colonialism is black.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Because when I started my journey to do my book, it was my big problem that I could not find the name for my book. And I think it should be attractive to sell more copies from the book. It should reflect my material in the book. But when I started this project and why I started this project, with settler colonialism, it's black or white. The occupation of settler colonialism is black, it's not white. And there is no compromise between them. It's not conflict.
Right.
There is no gray.
Right.
Even it's black or white. And that's why I called my book Black and White, because with settler colonialism, it's black.
When you say that it's black, you mean that it's negative?
We used to use this color not as a racism. We used to use this black. Black color is sign to the evil, the bad thing, and all of these things.
Question. One of your cartoons was kind of mocking the idea that there really is no peace process.
Yeah.
It's very pessimistic and hopeless about that as a way to change things. Yet I read online that you're a teacher and you're talking about you have such energy and strength, and you know you were imprisoned and we're talking about fine, I'm here now, I'm a journalist. So where is your hope? Like, do you see there to be a way that your art and your strength of passion for not allowing Palestine to just die going somewhere?
You're asking me about the solution. What is the solution in
Not
our situation?
necessarily. I mean, you know, as an artist myself and a writer, I feel like, you know, there's a path that we take, there's a process, and it's really that journey that kind of keeps us alive, or that gives us hope that there will be another direction or another piece. So you're showing, you know, just
the plan.
tragic, yeah, but I just feel so much hope in the person that's talking to us. So I'm just wondering, where are you with that?
This is a hard question. I think the solution is the deal that Mr. Trump keep talking about the deal, and we got not any deal from him. Actually, there's no solution. If you live there and see all of these kind of things, the settlement, the settler, all these otherness around you, you will not find the solution, not the hope. There is a hope when we resist, and we resist. There is a hope because we believe that this is our land. There is a hope because no generation will come and will drop his right in Palestine. I promise you. That's why we are working this kind of art, to keep this knowledge about our history, to keep this resistance for our rights, and this is our hope. I'm not looking to this stupid process, what they call it, two-state solution or one-state solution or no-state solution. I don't care. I believe that there's one day will come and Palestinians will liberate their land. And that's why we keep fighting. That's why we keep doing our artwork. But what is the formula? It's two states, it's one state. I don't care, actually. For me, as an artist, and as a one who lives in Palestine, and see how my people there, they are suffering, and how our people in Gaza, they are suffering, and people in diaspora, because even the Palestinian in diaspora, they feel that they need this ability to go back to Palestine. Maybe they will not, maybe they will stay here in the United States or European country, but they need to have this ability, like anyone around the world, like any Jew around the world, he can immigrate to Palestine and be, or what they call Israel, and be citizen there, and have right to stay there, and all of these rights that he can go just because his religion is Jew. I need the same right for my people. All these who were expelled in 1948, they have the right to go back to Palestine. And then what is the formula? One-state solution, two-state solution? I don't care. We need our rights. All of these refugees have this ability to go back to Palestine, to have a good life, peaceful life in Palestine, and then whatever the solution, I don't care. As an artist, and I have no formula actually for what is the solution there in Palestine. And I don't think you could find anyone now, especially the people who they are came from Palestine, because they know, they have already know what's going on. They cross from all these settlements. They cross from all these checkpoints. They see this wall every day. They meet this soldier every day. And that's why I think no one in Palestine believes that there is any hope from this process. But as a hope, yes, we have hope. That's why I'm smiling now. That's why my people, they are resisting there. That's why these people invited me to talk about the situation in Palestine. And the solidarity movement around the world became stronger and stronger with the Palestinians, because now we have the tool, the social media, the art, the BDS movement, and all this movement. And I know one day will come that you, as a pro-Palestinian here in the United States, you can change. You will have the ability to change the situation here in the United States and to stop all of these military aids for this, what they call state of Israel. One day will come. You base, I don't know how much exactly your taxes for your government, and your government send all of this money to this killer in the Middle East to kill the Palestinian and the innocent people. And that's your role. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I did this book. And from here you could find the hope, not from the peace process.
Yes, I have a question about a word you used. The word was anti-Semite or anti-Semitic. I find this word to be very problematic because, as far as I know, you are a Semite.
Yeah.
And it is a word that came about in a context where there were no Palestinians in Europe in the beginning of the 1900s, when the only Semitic-speaking peoples were Jews, because Semitic is a language group.
Yeah.
But in the Middle East, to speak about anti-Semites when we're talking about Palestinians is, to me, a denial of a shared genealogy, language, culture? Do people that you know of in the West Bank, in Ramallah, in the Palestinian movement, does anybody get bothered by that use of the word anti-Semite? It's as though it's denying reality.
All the people, and even the Arabs, they know that Palestinian and all this area, they are Semite, they're there.
Yeah.
But Israel used this word as a red line,
As a
as a censorship.
Yes.
You know, I've been traveling around the world for more than 10 years now. And recently, when I participated in any international festival, I used to ask these cartoonists from around the world, in France, in Europe, and in all these countries, can you criticize Israel? Most of them, they are pro-Palestinian, but they don't draw anything about Palestine. They don't criticize Israel. That's because they even in France or in Belgium or in all these countries, it is illegal to criticize, to be accused as anti-Semitic. That's why they have this self-censorship. That's why they do not criticize Israel, because they know that Israel will use this phrase anti-Semitic against them to stop this criticism for their government, not for the Jew. For me, it's very stupid. I have friends, Jewish friends from around the world, and I have no problem with them. The problem is with Zionists. The problem is with the state of Israel. The problem is with this injustice in Palestine. But they want to use it. They started under this umbrella.
They won't use what? You're saying they won't use...
They want to use this phrase, anti-Semitic, as an umbrella to... At the same thing, it's an umbrella. They built their own country under this umbrella. Now they can keep this country under this umbrella. You have to pay for them as a European country because they are reason for this the Holocaust, because he was anti-Semitic. And now all of these cartoons around the world, the activists, they cannot criticize Israel just because they will use this phrase, anti-Semite or anti-Semitic, against you if you criticize their government. It's just a red line. It's just a censorship tool.
I think anti-Palestinian is anti-Semitic. People
Yeah.
use the word anti-Semite because it's a denial of common humanity.
Actually, you gave me a good idea for cartoon.
I was
Thank you.
Have you done cartoons directly about the Great March of Return?
Yeah.
You have been
I
doing
did,
it.
but not in my book because
It happened after.
Yeah.
After.
yeah.
But you've been active
Yeah.
in that.
I have my daily cartoon. Every day I have to make. I have my daily cartoon. Every day I have to do some cartoons about the situation in Palestine. And you could find me in social media, Facebook, Twitter. Every day I have to publish my daily cartoon about everything, and even about Trump. You could find cartoons.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank you for being here. I'm an artist and then a caricaturist. I wanted to tell you my heart goes out to you, the rest of the West Bank. I was there just 2 months ago and I was so petrified. I left everything in my mind. The question is, we have very sensitive souls, and I know you do. How do you deal with the strength and the power of an enemy that's resilient and that does what they do, but when we do what we do, and I do a lot of paintings in New York for the land, and you're doing this, it honors me, but it also perplexes me how we behave with an enemy that's resilient, and that's brutal, and that's, I mean, I read that you were in jail, a heavy price to pay for your art. Your daily life must be very difficult. Can you shed a little bit maybe how you go through your day in West Bank versus Gaza?
I live in Ramallah. I work in Ramallah. That's why maybe my daily life, it's not so complicated. But because I travel inside Ramallah, I don't go outside the city.
You're not allowed to go to Jerusalem.
I have a big story with Jerusalem. Actually, now, because when I want to come to the United States, for example, I have to get permission or I have to get visa from the American consulate in Jerusalem. And if I want to get this visa, and go to Jerusalem, I have to get permission from the Israeli government to go to Jerusalem. That's means if I want to come to the United States, I have to get permission from the Israeli government.
Not the U.S.
Yeah.
And U.S.
And yes. And that's means if I want to come to the United States, I have to travel to Jordan to get the visa from Jordan, and then to travel to come to. I will show you a small thing. Yeah, from Amman. I will show you a small thing.
He's not allowed to go to the not allowed to go to the life.
I will show you my documents when I
This
want
is
to
the
travel.
life of painters and actors and actors. We're not allowed to travel in their green lines, and I was there. But
I want to travel, for example, from Palestine to Jordan.
Yeah.
Just I have to take all of this with me. This one, no? All this paper.
These are all permits and
This is for Jordanian. This is for Jordanian. This is Israeli permission. This is Jordanian passport, and this is my identity.
just to get here.
Just to cross from Palestine, from Ramallah to Jordan. And when I get into the airport, I got all this paper inside my bag and just use my passport.
And I'm sure they ask you 100 million questions or 50.
Not all, not every trip. But sometimes, yeah, they stop me for hours to ask me about where you've been, what you did, and all these questions.
Because I had my charcoals to go from Ramallah to Jerusalem, and I almost got shot by an Israeli soldier because they go through the machine. She came out screaming at me, "You have knives." I panicked. I did. I wrote a poem for that. My fucking chocolate. But I almost 3 soldiers came at me, and my editor was with me for a book, and they saw that. So they said, "Oh, you guys don't make these things up." I said, "No, we don't." The woman came to me at me with an M16. Just I had an American passport, so I can imagine your life is so much harder. So I salute you.
Thank you. You are familiar with M16? It's American. It's made here.
It didn't matter.
It's your gun.
It didn't matter. I had an American passport. It mattered that I'm Palestinian today. Did you hear?
Yeah.
It mattered that we're Palestinians. We're a threat to them, no matter where we go.
Yeah, I know. Every pro-Palestinian.
I wrote them a
threat.
poem and I sent it to them. My fucking chocolate.
Do you fear that they'll stop giving you permission?
Stop
Give
giving
you permission to travel?
No one knows.
You're not
It's
afraid?
gonna happen anytime, any day. They're gonna stop you. Maybe they will arrest you again. It's our life, and no one knows how they think.
So you just keep
Yeah.
doing what you do?
And when they stop me, I'll take long period of rest bank.
Because it is kind of, sometimes I don't know why some people are given permission and some people are not.
Actually, no one knows what exactly their qualification to give you the permission or not. Sometimes they ban you for anything, to travel to Jordan, travel to, like a couple of years ago, my mother was sick and she went to travel to Jordan to get some medical treatment, and they banned her to go to Jordan. She's 65 years old.
No reason.
No reason.
Right.
You could not find the reason. They will not give you the reason.
Part of the occupation.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.